Merry Christmas, everyone, and welcome back to Old School Arctic Cats. I'm Rocky, and today we really want to thank you guys for all of your support for watching our channel and for all of your awesome comments and reaching out to us through email. We read every one, and we sure appreciate it. In the last 12 months, we have grown to over 3,000 subscribers, and we couldn't thank you enough. We got about 3 feet of powder out here this weekend, and I couldn't think of any better snowmobile than the Firecat. Let's go for a ride. Man, this is sure awesome, you guys. This sled is the first time I've ever ridden a Firecat in the backcountry in deep snow. First thing I'm noticing is if I give it a lot of throttle, this thing just wants to chainsaw through this soft snow and I get stuck. I've gotten stuck like 4 times today. Luckily, it's pretty easy to get out. It isn't super heavy, but it is pretty deep out here. But if I give it about quarter throttle, it kind of stays on top and does its thing. Another thing I've noticed about it, with this super wide front end, I have to use all my weight to get this thing to carve. Sure looks cool and it's a lot of fun, but this is definitely a more of a trail sled. This does have the 151 extension, and I think if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be going anywhere. I mean, you guys, I could choose all sorts of mountain sleds here in the Rocky Mountains. I mean, there's mountain cats and alphas. They're for sale on every street corner around here. Firecats, though, seriously, this is like my 3rd one I've ever seen in nice condition for sale around where I live. I'm going to pass on some of these other ones. I like the rare ones. I like the ones that I don't get to see very often. These ones are the what's really cool and special. Nobody sees Firecats ripping around in the hills in deep powder. Maybe I'm just crazy, but that's what I like and that's how I ride, and this is what I'm going to do. One thing I also noticed about this Firecat is it sure is a good running motor. I don't think I can emphasize enough how good Arctic Cat did, or Suzuki, in doing this lay down 700 motor. I mean, the M7 is incredible as well, but it started right here in this Firecat, and I can't believe how reliable this thing is. It's got 2,500 miles on it. I am pounding this thing to get it to go up some of these little hills, and it just goes. It is smooth. There's no ratcheting. It's just does its thing. Another thing I want to mention, coming up this trail, there was some mobiles and stuff. This is by far the most comfortable snowmobile I have ever rode. I bet I could ride 1,000 miles on this thing and not feel it. I mean, I don't know if it's just the extra wide suspension or just the plush suspension, but it just feels good and comfortable. Another awesome thing about these snowmobiles, these older ones especially, when you're down in the parking lot and everyone's getting offloaded and going for your ride, I mean, I see a bunch of Ski-Doo 850s, I see a ton of Polarises, I see some Arctic Cat Alphas. You don't see sleds like this, like I mentioned, and they're all rubbernecking, checking me out on this old Firecat. I mean, you just don't see it. It's like it's not supposed to be up here, but it is, you know? And I just love that feeling. That's why I do it. I like taking these, maybe these old sleds where they don't really belong in the backcountry and make them work. But that's part of the fun. So I want you guys to watch what I'm about to do next. I'm gonna take this awesome Firecat. I mean, there's not much of a base. I bet there's a few logs in here. I hope this extra skinny track will just be enough to squeeze me through and have a lot of fun. Hopefully this is gonna turn out good. I also gained a new nickname off of YouTube. Someone called me Bobby Hill. I think it's starting to stick. Let's go see if Bobby Hill can go through this deep powder. So today was supposed to be all about this project sled that I've been working on all summer. Started out as a ZRT 800. A little background on this sled. I purchased it in 2017. Had the 136 factory extension track on it. It had the stock 800 motor, and it had triple AN pipes at the time. Well, I rode it for about a season, and I was living in an apartment at the time and didn't have storage for another snowmobile, and I already had my Thundercat and a few others, and I'm like, gosh, I really didn't want to get rid of it, but this one ended up going down the road. Well, a couple years after that, I ended up buying another mod Thundercat that had this 1050 motor in it, and the chassis was really beat up. It was wore out. Nothing was tight on it. It was really finicky and not very structurally sound. So, well, the motor seemed good. Took the motor out. It sat on a shelf, and that motor sat on that shelf for years and years. And I've been trying to find a proper chassis that I wanted to dump it in, and we ended up finding another chassis that had a Van Amberg tunnel and a few different things, but it was also kind of hodgepodge together, nothing quite lined up with clutching and things. So the motor went right back on the shelf. Well, I put an ad out just to see if there was any ZRT 800s around, and they're far and few between now out here in the western states. Not a lot of people rode them, and when they started getting into the mountain sleds, the ZRT triples and things and the big triples just went by the wayside. Anyway, I put an ad out and said, hey, I'm looking for a ZRT 800. If anyone has one, send me a link. Well, a guy reached out to me, and he's like, I don't have one, but I saw an ad where I'm from, and it was like 6 hours north of us out in Boise. And I'm like, crap, that's my old sled. I recognized it immediately because I put a sticker that says Bruder Racing on the windshield. So there was no denying that this was my sled. I put this sticker on it when I owned it the first time, and I could tell this sled had kind of a hard life. It sat outside a lot. The hood was faded. Started doing all the spider cracking and stuff that these big Arctic cats do. The seat was all tore up on them. Like, oh my gosh. Well, I knew this motor would bolt right into this chassis, and I knew I could dial in the clutching a little better, and I knew all the wiring harnesses and everything would be plug and play. So I bought it, got really excited, and started going down that road. So this summer, pulled the old 1050 off the shelf, and the motor that was in this snowmobile had a bad crankshaft in it. The guy blew its crank. So I pulled the original 800 motor, and took off the AN pipes. Still had the AN pipes and everything, just like where I left it. Unbolted all that stuff, took the 1050, put it in this sled, and I had to figure out how to hook up all the wiring, all my ignition coils. I made a little plate for that because this didn't have the original air box anymore. It had air socks on it, so the original mounting stuff was missing. Anyway, I had the seat recovered on it. I ended up doing an extension of the extension, so I had the 136. Well, I bumped it out to a 151. I ended up putting an 02 Mountain Cat 151 skid under it, re-welded the mounting brackets, got everything lined up and trued. Then I put the extension on there, the tunnel extension, and then I put this 151 finger track on it. I was hoping for this sled to be my very unique, very fast and loud and green, just mountain sled that I would bring out once in a while and just have some fun with these big twins that are always cruising around. Well, today this was the real test, was bringing this sled out to the backcountry, because we don't have any snow down in the valley, and I really wanted to see where I'm at, because I can only ride it around my yard so many times before I need to go. Let's go really put this through the paces. Anyway, it ran pretty good for about the first mile up the trail, and then it started acting like it was having either electrical gremlins, or maybe I'm losing power on one cylinder. I mean, I'll dig into that a little further. Anyway, it left me stranded right here. Well, like I mentioned, we go get the Firecat. That thing's ripping up and down the trail. We put that through the powder just to see what it was like, and been getting stuck all day, and It's not quite a powder sled by any means, even with the 151 extension, but as far as comfort and the cool factor, that Firecat is really awesome. But moving forward with this sled, I wanna dial this in, and I do have a backup plan for this. I do have a plan B, and the plan B is pretty exciting, and we might move towards that. I have a 2000 Thundercat 1000 sitting at my house with PSI pipes. It's the lime green limited edition as well. So I might take this hood off and retire it and set it aside, and I might dump that big 1000 Thundercat motor in here, take this 1050, set it back on the shelf, look at it, and then I'll put that Thundercat hood on here, and hopefully I can get this sled, and I'm not going to give up on it. I want this to be what I intended it for, just so we can have a bunch of fun content with this, you know, because it really draws attention. It's really loud. It's super lime green. It's an attention getter, and I don't want to give up on it. So to kind of wrap things up, you guys, I wanted to hit on something that's kind of got me bugged. The news that Textron gave everybody, saying that they are going to stop production of all Arctic Cat products and after this year, after 2025. It's kind of disheartening. It's kind of something that we all kind of had in the back of our mind as a possibility, but we sure didn't want it to become reality. And I'm really hoping that this will give someone an opportunity to take Arctic Cat and kind of listen to us consumers and take our feedback on what we want as far as products and make it reality for us. There's a lot of good things going on for Arctic Cat. There was that 858 was, I think, a pretty potent motor. I think that's a good foundation for something that's leading in the future. I think there's got to be two options with the alpha rail and a double rail or twin rail. There's got to be that kind of those options for us to choose from. It can't just be one or the other, especially out here in the mountains, you know. I think snow patterns and different things, I mean, that's hard, that's out of our control. But, you know, in the western states, we do get snow. We depend on it. If we don't have any snow, we couldn't live where we live. I also want to say, if any of you guys that have a lot of deep pockets out there, don't be hesitant to go buy Arctic Cat and make our dreams come true. But I know that's something that's always on our minds, and definitely on mine as we move forward. And these videos that we'll be creating from here on out, I mean, I want to highlight Arctic Cat and its glory days and what it is today and what it was back then. And I sure like sharing my passion with you, and I've had so much feedback from you guys that you share your passion with me, and I can't be more appreciative of that. I mean, that we've kind of become friends, I feel, through this journey, and I think there's a lot more people out there that appreciate what we're trying to do. There's quite a few Yamaha guys out there and Ski-Doo and Polaris that kind of admire what we're working on and kind of seeing what we're wanting to highlight with snowmobiling and the sport of snowmobiling in general. We got plenty more to show you guys, and like I said, that 1050 back there, she'll live again, and we'll keep having fun with these Firecats, and there's plenty of sleds out there that we can choose from and have a lot of fun on. Moving forward, we're going to have some products that are going to be coming up for sale. We're going to have a website. We're going to have a link for that website. There's a few things that we want to dial in, but I'm trying to get my own Arctic Cat merch and different things for old school Arctic Cat specific, and I want you guys to kind of enjoy those products too and kind of share your passion in that way as well. We got the King Cat over here. This is a phenomenal snowmobile. I can't wait to do a review on that thing. I mean, it was cutting edge technology back when it came out in 2005. I mean, the 162 track, I mean, that was a big deal for Arctic Cat back then. This Firecat was evolutionary, and right here we have this 2019 Alpha. This thing was revolutionary. It's already now, what, 6 years old, and this thing rips. It's good product. They got good engines. I think that Arctic Cat can survive this, but it's going to take the right person or the right company that can give Arctic Cat the love and attention that it needs to keep us going with not only the snow side of things, but also let's branch out into those dirt sports. You know, when snow isn't coming our way or whatever, we can kind of pivot and go that route as well. Sure appreciate you guys riding along with me today, and catch you guys on the next one.